controversy surrounding the 4.8 billion naira pipeline surveillance contract in the Niger Delta has ended with a commitment to support the project and the fight against crude oil theft in the region. Well, this was after a 3-hour meeting of the Ijaw national stakeholders in Government House, Yenagoa, and was presided over by the Governor Eradiri. Our correspondent, Ovioteme George, reports.
In the first quarter of 2022, Nigeria lost about $1 billion in revenue due to crude oil theft. With the Nigerian economy in dire straits, the federal government has awarded a pipeline surveillance contract to former Niger Delta militant leader, Government Ekpempolo, also known as Tompolo. This is seen as a desperate attempt by the federal government to end crude oil theft in the region. This has also led to a protest by a group called the Creek Men.
Everybody will have that sense of belonging. That is why this contract to protect pipelines, we have pipelines all over the places. Little part of Edo, Ondo, Delta, Bayelsa and rivers. So by the time you spread it across and give whatever is due to even the women, even the old men, then you will have peace.
Why will you take the whole of Delta State and come to River State? Take in Bayelsa and come to River State. He's the only person who loves money. Only him now love money to shop. Then people are saying, Hazard is this, Hazard is this. We are all Ijaw. So we are all Ijaw. One man should take in his place and come and take in my place.
I think as brothers, this can be resolved. Sometimes you can even take the initiative and call him. Tompolo, let's...
I am older than him. Much older. Wait. I am much older than him. He should do the calling.
If your children...
Perceiving disharmony among stakeholders in the Niger Delta, the Bayelsa State Governor, Eradiri, convenes a meeting with the Ijaw Nation stakeholders in Government House, Yenagoa, where a communique is read reflecting the agreement of all in attendance.
The resolutions of the All Ijaw Summit of December 4, 2021 remains the compass for the continuous interrogation of the Ijaw question in the Nigerian state and the roadmap for our quest for resource control, self-actualization and environmental justice, anchored on the instrumentality of the rule of law and other international instruments. That we maintain our position on the restructuring of Nigeria to free it from the shackles of a faulty and fraudulent contrived foundation that perpetuates injustice, disunity, hegemonic tendencies and propensities. That the Ijaw Nation condemns the degradation of our environment by oil spills and gas leaks from the facilities of multinational oil firms, pipeline vandalism, oil thefts and illegal crude oil refining activities will bear consequences on our people and their livelihoods.
The Ijaw Nation will never rise up in arms against one another. The Ijaw Nation will be united. The Ijaw Nation will put to shame those who want to disunite the Ijaw Nation. Tompolo and Asare are two brothers, and all others. They have come to an agreement today. They have come to a consensus that they will protect the Ijaw Nation. They will protect all federal presence in the Ijaw Nation, particularly in this pipeline contract that traverses the Ijaw Nation. And not only the Ijaw Nation, all other ethnic nationalities within the Niger Delta. And that means that we are all suing into peace in the Niger Delta. And peace in the Niger Delta is the only way that can attract development in the Niger Delta, both from within and from without. Therefore, we'd like to use this opportunity to assure our Ijaw brothers that we are not at war, that we are at peace. We'd like to assure Nigeria that we are not at war, and the Ijaws, and indeed other ethnic nationalities in the Niger Delta, are prepared to protect what is in their own region.
He has given his assurance that he is fully in support of Tompolo, that federal government awarded this job to him, his brother, that he will give him all his maximum support to actualize the success of this project. We've all agreed that there will be no problem, that we are one and we have to work together for the progress of the Ijaw nation.
It's necessary people disagree, but in the course of their disagreements, they'll be able to resolve. And taking further cognizance of what has happened so far, we're all looking forward to see that this peace and maintenance is sustained.
We've discussed, we quarrel, we disagree to agree, and that's all. We are one. One Ijaw, one Niger Delta, one way in, one way out. No two ways about it.
Ofieteme George, Arise News.
All right, Udengs Eradiri, former president, Ijaw Youth Council, joins us now from Yenagoa, the Bayelsa State capital, to speak more on this. Hello and very warm welcome to Newsnight, Udengs. Please, tell us what were the critical agreements in the 4 billion naira pipeline protection contract that the principal protagonist and antagonist met, that Governor Diri, resolved. What is the sharing formula reached for peace to have been guaranteed?
Okay, first of all, let me say good evening, listeners, and say that, look, there's so much about 4 billion. What's 4 billion with respect to the Niger Delta people and the resources in the region? But before we go to that, let me formally commend the governor of Bayelsa State for actually carrying out his responsibility as the leader of the Ijaw nation by ensuring that there is peace between leaders of the region. I want to also commend the president of the Ijaw National Congress for the role he has been playing and will continue to be playing to keep our brothers together. But the truth is, look, this contractor is coming to divide us. If we do not nip it in the bud early enough, it will further polarize the Ijaw nation. I think that is the reason why leaders have quickly decided to bring the warring factions together so that we can all move in one direction. Because truly, who are the ones losing? We are the ones losing. The revenues of the states is dwindling. It is drastically going down. The NDDC cannot get the right funding that it should get as a result of the allocations. Our environment is devastated. At the end of the day, we are called oil thieves. The truth is, if we are losing 400,000 barrels, then we need to do a critical analysis and find out how much of it is actually community content in order for us to be able to assess the pipeline surveillance contract, whether it is actually delivering as expected. So let us know how much. The Niger Delta people are not taking up to 50,000 barrels. Who is taking the balance? So that the Nigerian state can come up holistically to deal with this hydra-headed monster. But the truth is that Tompolo had already said from day one that he was going to work with his brothers. And if you have been following the issues, you will see how he has been engaging communities and leaders of institutions around the Niger Delta. So it is not far-fetched from the already laid down process that Tompolo had put in place to carry everybody in the Niger Delta along. I think that some of the agitations that were seen was as a result of communication gap, and that is the gap that the INC and of course the governor of Bayelsa State have quickly breached. And in breaching that gap is the reason why you can see that within a short while there is peace within the people. But the truth is that we all must be on one boat.
Very well said, Udengs. The governor is done noble, as a leader, to have brought everybody to a table to have an agreement. And I asked you, what's the agreement in sharing the 4 billion contract between Tom Polo, Ataketom, and Asari Dokubo? These are critical protagonists in this matter.
Okay, let me tell you, this is not the first time pipeline contract is being executed in the Niger Delta. And over the years, there had always been the engagement of these same actors in the process. So, like I said, there could have been a breach in communication, but the plan originally was a holistic plan to carry both Asari, King Ateketom, and all other stakeholders along. Truly, if you look at the contract, there is community content, there is security content, the Navy, the NSCDC, Civil Defense, who are by law the ones that secure critical assets of the nation. So truly, from the word go, every stakeholder was to be carried along. Like I said, probably because of engagement and then the pressures, the process of engagement didn't start the way it should have started. Right. Otherwise, it should have started with first engaging the leaders. If that was done ab initio, we wouldn't have gotten to this point. But absolutely. I think the governor has quickly come in, and then those gaps have been breached.
Well, Odengs, as optimistic as you sound in terms of the fact that, you know, the warring factions are coming together, it would have been great to see both men, especially Tom Polo and Asari Dokubo, where we've seen their members of their teams go against each other in recent times. It would have been good to see them in that meeting, really speak about these things that you talk about right now. But at the end of the day, I don't want to dwell too much on how much or who's getting what. The fact is, Nigeria, the economy is bleeding. We've lost our position as the highest producer of oil in Africa to Angola because we're not even able to meet our OPEC quota thanks to oil theft. It's an issue. And all of us, irrespective of if you are a Joe or you're from any part of the country, we are feeling the brunt of it. My question to you directly this evening, the agreement that was reached directly, how do you intend, or the members of both associations, able to fight oil theft in the communities, which has become endemic? I was in Port Harcourt on Friday, went through the devastating effect of what, you know, oil theft is doing to our environment. So how do we intend to fight it? It's the question tonight.
In fact, to answer your question, already a lot of progress is being recorded on the part of community engagement in the oil theft process. I said here that we need to interrogate, assuming we are losing 400,000 barrels a day. What is the quantity that is being stolen by community? Because community people who want to cook the crude do not steal as much as 50,000. There is an organized theft going on. And that's why I said, for us to be able to properly monitor and record the progress of the pipeline surveillance contract, then we need to do an assessment of who is stealing what, so that we can address this issue hydra-headed, dealing with the community on the part of the surveillance, because I know that in recent times, the military, working with the structure that have been put in via the surveillance contract, have already started yielding a lot of results. Even today, I've met with several communities and several actors who have actually told us that some of the people that have been arrested are actually used to work in the process to further ensure that the lines are safe. The issue here is, what of the ones that are stolen at the terminals, the federal government terminals? What of the ones that government institutions sell and do not remit to the national post? What of the ones that the oil companies, there are oil companies that you see their badges moving that do not report what they actually are taking from the country? What of the ones that, as a result of obsolete equipment, pipelines that are over 50 years old and are rupturing here and there? Have we holistically looked at it so that we can say, yes, the surveillance contract around community participation is actually yielding progress, and then the other part where the institutions of state are involved in this theft, we can now look at it. So generally, as a people,
thank you
I
so
know
very much,
because
Udengs.
I work for the federal government.
I must thank you most fervently. You've raised and asked 1,001 questions, which we leave to the authorities to answer and address to re-engineer the oil industry and put a halt to oil theft. Udengs Eradiri is the former president of Ijaw National Youth Congress. Thanks for coming on Newsnight.